This was supposed to be a night where college kids have their dreams fully realized, only for it to be overshadowed by a diva QB. What is the NFL Draft? Welcome back, everyone. It's David here. The NFL Draft came and went, and as always, there were plenty of winners and losers. We're going to break down the most significant picks of the draft, as well as try to address that green and yellow elephant in the room. Please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and give us a follow on all social media platforms. Our first loser is, who else? The Green Bay Packers. They've been a loser since they kicked a field goal on 4th and goal with 2 minutes left when they needed a touchdown. They've been a loser since last year's draft when they traded up to take Jordan Love. They've been a loser since they have the best player in football and have only given him one ring to show for it. The report that Rodgers wants out of Green Bay shouldn't have come as a surprise to most football fans. Really, it was just a matter of when the other shoe was going to drop. The other loser here is Adam Schefter, who likely sat on this report for months, but then dropped the bomb on the first day of the NFL Draft, stealing the moment away from all these kids who have waited their whole life for this moment. How could you, man? The entire Packers organization have tried their best to change Rodgers' mind and convince him that he's still an important part of the team's future. But during the draft, we saw signs of them already moving on. They took Amari Rodgers in the second round. Whether that was their way of coping with this news, or it was their pathetic attempt to try and convince Packers fans that A. Rodgers is still on the team, it's not a good look.
Scott, did you come up with the correct response? Who wanted to kick that field goal? That is a great question.
Their two longest-serving quarterbacks, Bart Starr and Brett Favre, played in Green Bay for 16 seasons. And last season was Rodgers', you guessed it, 16th season as a Packer. Considering he dominated headlines throughout the weekend, it seemed like we were perfectly set up for a Rodgers trade to go down. That hasn't materialized yet, but expect trade rumors to persist consistently until the matter is finally resolved. Silver lining, Packers fans, at least he hasn't defected to the Vikings. Yet. On to our next loser. The Niners shouldn't be applauded for doing the bare minimum. In the end, they didn't drink the Mac Jones Kool-Aid. They didn't pick the guy that fans have been begging them for months to stay away from. It's equally possible that Mac made it that far in the evaluation process, or the whole thing was a smokescreen from the beginning. Either way, that was a steep price to pay for Trey Lance, a guy who hasn't played in over 16 months for an FCS squad. That is, unless he becomes the second coming of Josh Allen. And there's not much evidence to support that, other than Josh Allen recording a video message for him. There's definitely a double standard in the NFL, because if Ryan Pace had done this trade up to take Trey Lance, everyone would have been getting their jokes off. The Niners were also prepared to not use this pick at all, as they included it in the King's ransom that they sent to the Packers for Aaron Rodgers. So good luck convincing Lance that he was the plan all along, and that you believe in him as the future face of the franchise. I'm not a monster, I'm rooting for the kid to succeed, but this is a big gamble, and one that will be hard to justify unless he reaches his ultimate ceiling. Our next loser, the Cowboys are down horrendously. It's not that Micah Parsons is a bad player, but pretty much every mock draft had them taking Patrick Surtain to shore up their secondary. But then he went one pick before to the Broncos. Losing out on him like that must have stung. Now, Ian Rappaport said that the Cowboys wanted Micah Parsons all along. But even if that were true, how do you justify trading with your biggest rival, gifting them the right to Devonta Smith? Now, we know that the Giants wanted Devonta Smith, so the Eagles and Cowboys could have teamed up just to keep him away from them, which, if that's the case, that's hilarious. However, Parsons has some well-documented character concerns, which mostly revolves around the time that he fought one of his former teammates at Penn State. And if that were enough, they took Josh Ball in the 4th round, who's been accused of, way worse. Jerry Jones sure loves his bad apples. Parsons could turn out to be a valuable piece of the Cowboys linebacker core alongside Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith. Still, it wasn't worth handing the Eagles a number 1 wide receiver. Here's hoping that Smith goes off for at least 100 yards and a touchdown in every single meeting against the Cowboys. A big winner in the draft has been seeing college teammates reunited. Burrow got his old pal Jamar Chase back. Tua was hyped as hell when the Dolphins picked Jalen Waddle. And the other Bama receiver, Smith, the reigning Heisman winner, gets to play with Hurts again, who was the starter during his true freshman season. Meanwhile, the Patriots quickly reunited their new QB Mac Jones with Christian Barmore, in addition to selecting 2 teammates from Oklahoma in Ronnie Perkins and Ramondre Stevenson. And how can we forget the Jaguars taking both Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne in the first round? That last one makes the least sense though, since RB is not a position of need for them, and especially after Urban Meyer said he plans to use Etienne as a third down back. Huh? If that's the case, then why'd you pick him in the first round? The thought of a 3-headed monster in the backfield is enticing though, but it's entirely dependent on whether the Jags coaching staff can balance James Robinson, Hyde, and Etienne effectively. Giving rookies a sense of familiarity by taking one of their old college teammates is a fairly common move. After all, chemistry is an important part of team building. But it seemed to be far more prevalent in this year's draft, and these GMs made great use of it here. I wanted to shout out the New York Jets, who, in my opinion, walked away with the best draft class. It wasn't exactly a secret that they were enamored with Zach Wilson at number 2. Time will tell if they made the right call, but Joe Douglas did a heck of a job surrounding him with talent right away. First, they traded up to give him some O-line help in the form of Elijah Vera Tucker. Then they took Elijah Moore, who could be an excellent target in the slot, and someone that A.J. Brown, a Pro Bowler last year, endorses heavily.
To this day, bro, like, I never told you this. We had talked about it, we joked about it. But you're way better than me, bro. Hey, E, shit you do, still trying to do, bro.
If that's true, then getting him in the second round was a steal. Then they took Michael Carter in the 4th round, who had an amazing college career in North Carolina, and could challenge for the starting running back slot right away. Spending the first 4 picks on offense was a wise move, and a clear indicator that they want to help Wilson reach his full potential. Jets fans, if you're confused by what just happened, what Joe Douglas did is called surrounding your QB with help. Something the previous regime utterly failed at doing when they took Sam Darnold. They're not going to suddenly win the AFC East with these moves, but the Jets are definitely set up for long-term success after this draft. And lastly, the Bears are a winner? The Bears are a winner! I know. The last time they traded up for a QB, it didn't exactly work out for them. But this is sure to have a happier ending. All those years of people calling Ryan Pace dumb and dumber paid off because he totally redeemed himself. They're going to have an awkward conversation now with Andy Dalton, who was told he would be the starter. And it looks like they're still going to have to try and convince him of that. But there's a good chance that every Bears fan, especially Allen Robinson, will prefer this outcome. Hey, Andy Dalton could very well end up being the Week 1 starter. You know who else is the Week 1 starter for the Browns and Chargers? Tyrod Taylor. How did that work out? The real question here is Justin Fields already the best QB in Bears franchise history? If he isn't already, that could very well end up being his ceiling. Even before the Aaron Rodgers rumors, this type of move was a no-brainer. Now, if he really does end up leaving the division, it'll be there for the taking. What better way to potentially stake your claim as Offensive Rookie of the Year than leading the Bears to the NFC North title?